Good morning, crafty friends. Hello and happy Tuesday. We made it to another week, which means another release, and I am super excited that you're here today. Who's ready for a patriotic party? I am always excited about our red, white, and blue release, and we are super excited about these products this year. It's fun. It's kind of the launch of summer in my mind, all of the good things that come with summer, which includes our 4th of July holiday in about a month. I think, is it the 4th today? I think it is the 4th of June today. So 1 month, and we are going to be celebrating the 4th of July here in the United States. So as you're hopping on today, let me know. Say hi. I would love to see who's joining us. Say hi to a few people, and then I'm going to launch into what's new, because it's also the first Tuesday in June, which means we have launched new freebies, both the every order freebie and the freebie with orders of $100 or more. Those are new, and I want to share those with you. Plus, we have some new products that have just joined our catalog on the website, and I want to make sure you guys are aware of those. So we have lots to cover today, plus we get to be crafty together. That's always my favorite part. So say hello as you are hopping on today. Hello, Michelle. Hi, Mary in Illinois. Lisa's here. Hi, Vicki. Good morning, Debbie. Robin in Wisconsin. Oh, Jamie in hot Cincinnati. It was warm here yesterday, too. I play an outdoor sand volleyball league on Monday nights, and so last night was quite warm. It was our sweatiest night yet, but it was super fun. I love being out in the sun and the sand, and still enjoying playing volleyball. So glad it's warm for you too. Hi, Rhonda in Georgia, the Georgia peach of the group. We have Lisa out in Washington. Hello, I'm gonna say Mia from California. Not sure if I said that name right. Hi, Dory. And Sally's here. Good, always glad to see you, Sally. All right, you guys, like I said, we have lots to chat about today. So I am going to first share all of the inspiration. You guys get a look at everything the design team has created that is laying out on my table. And then we're going to talk about the freebies of the month and some of the new products that are not release related that have joined our catalog recently. And then also we're going to get into the new products. So let's get started. All right, you guys, here we go. Look at all this red, white, and blue. We have a little bit of color up here in the corner. Otherwise, mostly what you're seeing is red, white, and blue. If you paid attention to our sneak peeks, then you know we also have something for our Canadian friends. You can see one sample over here, and I'm excited to share that too as you guys celebrate Canada Day right around the same time that we celebrate the 4th of July. So I believe Canada Day, you guys are going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's July 1st, I want to say. So yeah, that is coming up for you guys too. And we are excited to be able to offer something for Canada as well. All right, let me start moving some of these things off and out here. And we'll bring those back as we talk about the new products. I'll be able to share some of these samples with you and talk through what everyone used to create those. My desk is already looking a little bit tornado-ish, so apologies for my if I seem disorganized as we're going through this. It's because my desk has a lot of things on it because we're doing lots of fun new things at TE this month. So with the change of each month, you guys are probably pretty aware now that we offer a free stamp with every order that you place at TE. We have created this collection card that you can purchase separately, and then every time a new month begins, we release a different postage stamp, and you get a little sticker with that, and you can place your sticker on your collection card, and then your stamp collection is just going to grow throughout the year as you get those orders. So I'm going to open up, this is what it looks like when it comes to you, that stamp, and then the sticker, the coordinating sticker is just right inside there as well. So we're going to take our sticker this month. It is a cute little bee. Look at that, adorable. little bee pollinating the flowers in the background. I love that one. The sticker is not the actual size of the stamp. You can see the stamp is a little bit larger. And we're going to take and place our sticker on the month of June for the bee. We'll just peel the backing, which is split down the middle. I love that. Nice and easy to peel. And then I'm going to put that right inside that little gray box that's on my collection card. And we have 6 months filled out of our pretty postage collection. Super fun. We have coordinating dies to go along with these. They're called the pretty postage dies to allow you to cut out the postage stamps. You can even cut out the frames from a die cut, and you'll be able to make lots of different projects. We have several videos and lives that we've shown projects using these pretty postage stamps, and we'll continue to show ideas with those as we release more stamps throughout the rest of the year. If by chance you are placing more than one order in a month and you're getting more than one freebie, you can grab more than one pretty postage collection card and have those cards to store your stamp collection on. So there we have our every order freebie for the month of June. And then let's take a look at our 100 plus freebie. Jill Hawkins always creates the most adorable inspiration using our freebies, and so I have that to share with you. But first, let me show you. This is called the Fanfair Cutting Plate. Isn't that fun? For those of you that quilt, I'm curious if you recognize this pattern. It is something that I learned from the quilting world, and I think it creates a really beautiful stitched pattern for a card as well. So we called it the Fanfair Cutting Plate, and it actually just pierces or stitches the design into your card front. So it doesn't actually cut anything out. It is a stitching plate that stitches or pierces that design into your paper. I'll show you what I mean here when we get to Jill's samples. So let's look this up. And if you pull it in close, you can see that stitching pattern in the background. It can resemble a lot of different things. It resembles rainbows, I think. It looks a little bit like clouds when Jill stacks it in the background on the white here. And I think arches are mainly what the pattern is built out of, but that can resemble a lot of different things. So I think it works great as a really fun backdrop, and yeah, I hope you guys love it. So I haven't seen anything from those of you who might recognize this from the quilting world, but this pattern is used a lot to quilt over the top of your quilt squares, and it is called a Baptist fan. So kind of interesting little bit of trivia for you today. And here you can see what that looks like on another card where it looks almost like rolling hills because Jill blended green over the bottom of this project using our cute little spring grumpling, and then that funny sentiment, social vegan, avoid meat. I love that one. When she created this card, it reminded me of that Simple Strips. I think it's called Snarky. Simple Strips Snarky, I believe, is the one that one is in, but it always makes me laugh. So there's a couple of pieces of inspiration for you, and of course, as people get this freebie, they will be posting samples using it on our fan page. So join Fans of Tailored Expressions if you want to see what some of our fans have created with this as they're getting their orders as well. Oh, and April says mermaid or fish scales. That's a good one too. I can see that being used for those type of themes as well. Okay, so I also mentioned we have a few new products that we've added to the Tailored Expressions website. They are not, some of them are not TE products. These in particular are new to our website. If you haven't seen these yet, Tim Holtz Tonic Studios came out with these beautiful recoil scissors and recoil snips. So if I pull them out of the packaging here, and they have a little, oh, I gotta take this off. I was like, why isn't it coming out? So yeah, take the blade cover off, and then they have a little lock here where you can lock the blade in place if you wanna keep it closed, and then unlock it when you're ready to use it. But these scissors just make for a really nice grip and way to cut, especially for anyone who has any wrist troubles or arthritis in the fingers. This is another great tool to use for that. So we are excited to have these, and I am particularly excited to have a larger version with a long blade, more of a scissors style. You can see it doesn't have a full scissors on or handle on both sides, so that you can easily grasp that, kind of decide. I actually kind of like it like this, I think. Where my hand is pushing down on that single blade. But I suppose, yeah, that's not quite as comfortable for me, but maybe it could work in both directions. But I do love, again, a long bladed scissors. I use those a lot when I'm cutting foil, and this recoil just makes it really easy to pinch those handles together. So these are now in the shop. You will find these under the new category, Tools and Supplies, is where you'll find all of these kind of non-release related products. And then they both come with an extra recoil spring. If you, this one is more of a higher tension. If you want to increase the tension of the handle, then you can replace it with this spring instead of the one that comes in there. All right, looks like those are on some people's wish list. So comfortable, easy to hold, and of course they cut nice. We love all of our cutting tools from Tonic. So, all right, next up we have a couple of things we brought into our own catalog just today, so I wanted to make mention of these. Lots of people have asked for our Bits and Pieces bottles empty. So I know it's nice to have a consistent storage option for your embellishments, and Tailored Expressions embellishments, our clay pieces and sequin mixes and drip drops and those type of products, they are all packaged in these little bottles. And so now you can get extra bottles if you have other embellishments that you want to store in this way. They come in a pack of 4, and of course they come empty for you to fill however you would like. So Bits and Pieces storage bottles are also on the new category under Tools and Supplies. And then this one we have added to our scrap pack. We have some sugar cube scrap packs now available. I know this is currently the only color that we have available in scrap packs. So as we stated when we first released scrap packs, we will be restocking those as we get the larger pieces of cardstock in and we cut them down. So we can't always predict what colors will be available and when they will be available or restocked. You just kind of have to be checking back on that scrap pack. And currently the sugar cube is in there for purchase if you want to grab any scraps of sugar cube. All right, are we ready to get started on the good stuff? The new Patriotic release. It is our Patriotic party, as I mentioned before, so we are going to start it off with this collection. So this is designed by Heather Nichols. This was a concept that she came up with, and I thought it was just so simple and perfect for the 4th of July holiday. So we have our Americana split 6x6 background. And when I turn this over and take it out of, actually I think I have one out of the packaging, so I'm going to preserve that one and just grab this one that I will be using today, just to show you guys that our 6x6 split backgrounds are split into, in this case, 2 pieces. So you have a star and you have a stripe. They are designed to fit perfectly together with just the right amount of space in between in order to stamp your sentiment. So you can use them together or separately. It makes it really easy for inking because you can peel that one part off of your lid of your MISTI and just use the other part. And lots of good benefits of having it as a split background. And we also did that as a 6x6, so you could get both vertical and horizontal out of this same pattern. So that is the 6x6 Americana split background. And then to go along with that, we have the Foil-It Americana pack. So featuring the same artwork from the stamp set, but with a few other twists thrown in here. I think this is one of my favorite pieces of the release. For those of you that foil, this is going to be something you definitely want to grab. So you have a vertical version of that pattern here, and then you also have a horizontal version that covers the entire card and features that same pattern from the stamp. There is quite a bit of white space in between, so it's going to be very easy to make that top part blue and the bottom part red to look like the American flag. Then we have some other fun portions that we have designed to coordinate with several of our stacklet sets. So if you want to cut these out, you can, or you can leave them on the panel. They're arranged nicely for you to stamp your sentiment after you do your foiling, and just kind of put that on a card base as well. So this particular one fits with our pennant stacklets. And then we have this design that fits with the arched stacklets. We have this one that of course fits with star stacklets. And then this design that fits with circle stacklets. So if you want to cut those out, one of the pieces in each of these stacklet sets that I mentioned will cut the design perfectly for you. We're going to be using the star when I create a little bit later on, but that was circle, star, arch, and pennant. Those are the 4 stacklets. If you have those in your collection and you want to cut those out, or if you want to grab them from the store to be able to cut those out, you can do that as well. Let me get these back in the bag, and I'm going to show you some samples using the Americana. It was widely used and loved by our design team for this release, and as always, they have created some really special projects. I want to start by showing you what Heather has created. She is up on our YouTube channel showing you guys both the stamp version of the Americana and the foilet version. So if I get that up to the light, you can see that beautiful foil kind of starting to shine there. And then over here, she's used blueberry and cherry pop for the colors on the stamp. And then we've got the other part of this collection that I haven't had a chance to mention yet is the sentiment set. So we have designed this Americana Expressions to fit in those openings that I mentioned in both the foilet, and if you choose to use both layers of the stamp together, it will be the perfect size to fit one of these sentiments. So that's what you'll be seeing on several of these projects using the Americana, are those sentiments that just fit perfectly right in the center. So that is super fun, and if you want to check out how Heather created these cards, you can visit the YouTube channel and find her instructional video there. So fun. I love those, Heather. Oh, and I should mention in the background, she used an old favorite. This is called Starfall. The background here that she stamped tone on the toffee cardstock is another great one for patriotic projects. It's called Starfall. All right, let's see if I can find some other Americana projects. So Emily Midlowski created this one using one of the foilet panels, and she's also using another new product that we have this with this release, and so we'll talk about this Firecracker die in just a minute, but you can see that Americana panel in the background. Then we have this one from Lori where she used just the stamp with another new product that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. We have that American flag die that goes with so many of the things we're releasing. I also like how she repeated the sentiment across there to fill that entire space. I think that looks really fun. So there's another couple with the Americana and the stamp and the foilet. One more here. This is what we're going to be creating together today, so I wanted to just give you a heads up that this is our crafty session later. We're going to be creating this fun infinity shaker card, and I used both the stamp in the background and the foilet on top. I really wanted that foilet to stand out as the shimmer and shine, and then the background is just the plain stamped ink. So this one is super fun. It's going to be fun to create. It's been a long time since I had made an infinity shaker card, so I'm excited to share that with you guys today. All right, should we do, let's do one more, because this one from Jill also uses the Americana background at the bottom where she stamped the red stripes, but then she used that other background stamp that I was telling you about. This is the Starfall background that she stamped in blue, and then foiled the panel and dropped it behind to create that fun shaker element using our, I already lost the name of these. Was it Patriotic something? Something Patriotic clay mix, but it has a mix of sprinkles and stars and flags in it. That was released last year, but we're bringing it back this year because we've got lots of fun things that you can do with shaker elements. So there we have Americana. Let's talk next about that Firecracker die that I mentioned. I've got several fun samples using that. So this is the Firecracker shaker. So there are two options that you can use in this. You can create the shaker element if you choose, or you can just paste this over the top of a solid color to create your kind of dual colored shaker element. I have this one where Emily put two of them on here. One is more of a firecracker rocket, and the other one looks like a candle. So she used the kind of spark from the end of the firecracker to come out of the top of this and create that candle image. I think that turned out so cute. Look at all that foil. She's got glitter paper, glitter cardstock on the stars, and that topper, and that Patriotic clay mix inside the shaker as well. So there's another option for using that shaker material inside of this firecracker shaker. We've got this from, I bet you guys know who created this, right? This is the tag that Heather created using the firecracker shaker. Heather always creates tags. I love them. Shaped tags, any kind of tag. You can count on Heather. And I love how she used, again, that Patriotic mix to be the shaker material in the middle of her firecracker. I love that. All right, then Jen made this fun card. I love how she was able to get that highlight down the center of this rocket just by leaving the cardstock white as she was blending in from the outer edges, and really made this look very realistic. That background is from one of our Rainbow Bright dies. I can't ever remember which one is 1, 2, or 3. So that is how she created that, though, with the Rainbow Bright and blending in the color from the edges, leaving those centers white. Again, just adds to the highlight and the realism of this. I think it looks so fun. She used that same Patriotic shaker mix to create the shaker in the center. And if you're looking to easily create a shaker out of this, you will want to grab our pre-cut foam strips. So this die was designed specifically to be able to be wide enough on the edges to fit our foam strips, and it's the perfect height to allow movement for your shaker materials. So grab some of those foam sticky strips if you don't already have them in your collection. All right, so there we go. This is the Firecracker shaker, and we're gonna move on now to the next thing. Okay, so back in January, you might remember we released this. This is not new. This is part of our collection already. It's called Hang On, and we released it for Valentine's Day. So it came with, or we sold it, first offered it with a set of dies called Hang On Hearts, where you could hang the little hearts across this string. Well, for this release, we have added to this collection, and we have Hang On Stars. This is just such a versatile set of so many stars. You can choose to hang them on here, or you can do so many other things with these as well. There are some that have different etched patterns, some that are more star frames. You have lots of little stars in here that you can use in lots of different ways. So this is what that die set looks like, and you get lots and lots of stars in there. Now, if you don't choose to use them with the hang-on stamp, let me show you some other ways that design team members have used them. I'm also going to bring in this. So this is our Insider's Service Hero. So if you love to make cards for veterans or those who have served, this is a set that will be used a lot for you. So it says, you make our world safer, our lives better, and our hearts proud. So grateful for your willingness to protect and serve. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. That is a quote. And then we have, with great appreciation for your service and sacrifice, we honor you on this Veterans Day. So I know Veterans Day is not until November, but there are other ones in here that you can use even to send to someone who is currently serving. And I know lots of you like to make cards for troops and send those off, and so this would be a great one to do that with. In combination with the hang-on stars, it could look something like this. So Emily Midlowski created these couple of cards using lots of foil and glitter cardstock. One of the great things about our glitter cardstock is it doesn't come off on your fingers. I know that's often a requirement when you're donating cards that you don't use glitter. However, this glitter is not your typical loose glitter, and I think it should be fine to be used because it doesn't actually flake off of the cardstock. She did also foil the sentiments. If I can get that to show properly in the light, you can see that they are foiled in a combo of red and blue as well. We have the Americana foilet in the background. She used red foil cardstock and our blue glitter cardstock along with silver glitter cardstock as well. So I think those are super, super fun. Now this is one that I created using our mix and match stars and stripes cutting plate. This is actually a design that is cut in half, so you can cut the top out of the blue and the bottom out of the red, and then it's designed to fit on your A2 card panel just like that. So I actually foiled using a toner sheet, a solid black toner sheet, and then I die cut these two pieces and adhered them down. So that just creates a really nice frame, and you can see then the stars around the outside. And then I mentioned this one earlier, but we do also have this one from Jill. I love how she showed these hang-on stars in a little bit different way because you don't have to use them just for patriotic cards. Stars are great for birthdays, for grad, just to tell someone you're proud of them. So she used that star pattern from the Americana background and inked it in this beautiful rainbow of colors and then used the star die cuts on the side. So starting to think outside the box on these. And then let's talk about what has been one of everyone's favorites since last year at this time. We offered this as a gift with purchase during our Patriotic release last year. So this you may have in your collection if you earned it during that promotional time. This is Gus and Gertie 4th of July, and it is a stamp with a die sold with it. So it's a stamp and die combo, and you can now purchase this. I know we've had several people, lots of people looking for this, in search of this stamp for a long time. So now you have the opportunity. If you don't have it in your collection and you love Gus and Gertie, you can add this stamp and die combo to your order. All right, let's talk then about our last collection. One more thing. I forgot this card. So Jen Schultz created this card, or no, this is Lori. This is Lori. Sometimes I get all the toffee lovers confused. Lori, Heather, Jen, they all love to use toffee, but I didn't want to leave this one out using the hang-on stars. I love how she put that inside one of our little vellum envelopes, and we've got the postage stamp with the forever on it. I think that looks really, really cute. Kind of one of the more rustic color combinations, so you can get really bright and kind of primary with your 4th of July color choices, or you can go more rustic and incorporate some of those toffees. And I think this is raspberry sorbet and blue cheese. So kind of a unique color combination for your patriotic projects. Okay, last thing, last but not least, we're going to talk about both the USA and Canada with these flags that we have available. So this is the Canadian flag and the American flag. They were designed in conjunction with this mason jar die so that you can create kind of a patriotic themed bouquet, putting flowers maybe from garden variety sets, and then maybe sticking a couple of the flags out of the mason jars. So I'm going to show you this one where Susan created using the Canadian flag. We did the flag in both directions, so if you want to use it both ways, you'll just take that larger piece and flip it over so that you have one that goes in both directions. She put it inside the mason jar, added some of the greenery from the Garden Variety 2 set, a couple of white flowers with the cute yellow centers, and a sentiment from our previously released foilet set for, actually I think that might be in one of the birthday sets. It might not be a patriotic one, but I think that turned out super cute. And if you don't live in Canada, then hopefully you can imagine this with the American flag tucked in that mason jar as well. So we also, let's see, I wanted to bring back a couple of the other samples that designers created using that flag, and we have this one that Heather made, and she did both of, or Lori, sorry, this one that Lori made, and she did the flag in both directions. And then this is the one we'll be making here on the live today, where I just kind of stuck one of those flags out of the top of my star. So super fun, right? I love that you guys like seeing everything the creative team has done. As always, they do such a great job. We have a couple of other kind of unique things happening, kind of, I guess, a couple consumable items that are new. We have a couple new foils, Blue Stars and Sparkle and Blueberry. So this would be the best match for our blueberry cardstock if you have that color and can imagine that. It is a plain solid foil. And then we have our Blue Stars and Sparkle that has the kind of stars and sparkly background built into it. So both of them are great options. It just kind of depends if you like your patriotic cards. I call this one a little more serious, and then this one a little more party. So depending if you like your patriotic party or a little more serious, you might choose this one. Or you could just get them both and decide in the moment what you're feeling like. So those are now available as part of our Fun Foil collection. Then we're also offering something new. So this is a new feature that we're going to test out at Tailored Expressions. I know sometimes it's really nice to be able to start small, and we've had lots of new customers lately who may not be grabbing every ink color that we have right off the bat. So we're going to be making some suggestions and offering ink bundles with some of our releases. So you can see here we have a couple of ink bundles that we have built. I'll put them in the same order here so that's less confusing. But we have a couple of ink bundles available, one in the full size and one in the mini ink cubes with the Cherry Pop, Sugar Cube, and Blueberry inks, which are going to be your brighter colors for a patriotic card. So these are also in the new category, even though these inks are not brand new to the collection. The bundles are new to this release, and they do count towards our promotion, which leads me into showing you. I'm actually going to pop this graphic up on the screen so you can get a visual. We have the Sticker to It Americana, which is free with a $25 or more purchase for the first 500 orders from the Patriotic Party category. So let me show you what these stickers look like in real life or in living color. Here they are. The Sticker to It is a collection that we've offered before. We have rainbow stickers, and we have another one that says like a treat for you and those kind of things. So this one is specifically patriotic. Oh, we have Santa ones too. So if you're looking for the whole collection, you can search sticker to it. But this will be offered free in your order of $25 or more for our first 500 customers. And these can be used for lots of things. They can be used as envelope seals, like I did on this envelope. So I used the star pattern from that Americana background, and I just added a little bit of color with that envelope seal on there. Or you can use them for treats as well. So Susan created this little treat bag. I love how she put the label on the mason jar. It fits so nicely on there and just makes for a really fun little tag that you could put on a treat bag, or you could tie it around something. Maybe you have a big party that you throw at the 4th of July and you like to make little favors or something along those lines. So that is our special deal for the Patriotic Party release while it lasts. Okay, what do you guys think? What is the favorite? I would love to hear if you have a favorite or a favorite collection or something you're excited to try with this particular release. I'm going to start getting my things set up to make the card that we're going to be making today. I'm going to need my Misty. Looks like we've got Kathy likes the Firecracker. Debbie, love all the fun stars. Yes. Party in the USA, April says. Mindy, love it all. Leanne, I already put in my order, but I missed some must-haves, so you'll be back later, and that is a-okay. All right, so that Americana stamp here that we have, I am going to take that and place it down on my lid. I'm going to put the stars at the top and the stripes at the bottom, just matching up the line here. And then we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the paper of the Misty. And I will be using, I have 2 pieces of sugar cube cardstock. I have one that's 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have one that's just inside that at 3 1/4 by 5. So I'm going to use the smaller one to stamp onto, and then we're going to adhere it to the larger one. I liked how it looked with a white border around the outside, so that's why I went ahead and decided to cut this piece just a little bit smaller. So we are going to, I've got that adhesive here, and I want to be able to make sure that my paper is perfectly centered on these stripes. I do think that if you get your stripes off-centered, it just doesn't look quite as pleasing. So I'm going to take this and place it down as best I can on here. And I'm going to position it halfway between the top and the bottom, and then it looks like I'm going to be able to get a full stripe in on each side. If you can't get a full stripe in based on the size of your paper, then just position it centered between the stripes. And then we're going to close the lid on the back of the Misty and press down, and then we'll open that up, and the paper will be stuck right where I want my stamp to stamp. So I need to move my magnets out of the way here. And we are going to go ahead and stamp the red first. I'm going to show you guys how to do this in 2 separate pieces, but there is a good amount of space in the middle here, so that if you didn't want to remove the 2 stamps, you probably could get away with not removing them. But having that split down the center allows you to more easily use just the stars or just the stripes if you want to do that as well. So I'm going to end up peeling off the bottom part, the stripes here, and we're going to go ahead and ink up the top part with blueberry ink is the color that I'm using here. So we'll go ahead and ink that up. And I've got got my Just Press tool. With these solid backgrounds, it's just so helpful to have something to press on the lid of your MISTI with and get that nice, perfect on the first try with that beautiful red rubber. Such a high quality product with the red rubber that you get to enjoy the benefits of just being able to stamp and ink that once. If you don't get it perfectly the first time, the one thing that I mention or that I talk about a lot is looking at your stamp to see if any ink is left over and just missed getting the pressure on here. Then I would, if that was the case, I would just close my lid again and press down in that area. I don't need to re-ink it again. The more times that you re-ink it, the more saturated it gets, and you can lose some of the points on your stars. So if you can avoid re-inking by just closing the lid and putting that pressure down again, that would be your first step. And then if you need to re-ink it again, you can definitely do that and close the lid. Okay, so this time I'm going to take off that top stamp, and we are going to ink up the bottom half of our image with Cherry Pop ink, which I think I left over somewhere. Okay, so Cherry Pop ink is going to be what we use on the bottom part here. And as I'm inking these solid stamps, a lot of times there are different ways that you can ink stamps, and I choose to use the twist and tap. So I twist the ink to get it to cover my stamp fully, and then I tap across the stamp to kind of even out the ink that's on the rubber. So then we'll go ahead and close that. Again, pressure with our Just Press tool, gonna give us that nice pressure. Open that up. I feel like there's maybe just a little bit of ink that I can see left on my stamp, so I'll show you what I was talking about, and I will go ahead and press that down. Now sometimes with these larger stamps, you can get bubbles in the actual adhesion of the cling mount to your lid, and if you have air underneath here, then you will not get a good impression on your stamp. So that's something else to think about as you're using these big stamps. A lot of times people call it burping your stamps. I don't really like the word burping, but basically letting the air out here of the stamp. If you have any air trapped underneath here, you can peel it up and just nicely place it back down, kind of roll it back into place so you're not trapping air into the middle of your stamp. Hopefully that makes sense and is another good tip that you might benefit from. Okay, so somebody asked, could you just leave both parts of the stamp on the MISTI? And you definitely could do that because there is that good amount of white space between the two stamps. But I wanted to just give you the experience of having the split stamp and seeing how you would do that if you wanted to split it apart. And if you're mass producing, sometimes it's nicer to just have one stamp on there. You can just go and do a bunch of panels and not worry about getting any of the ink that you don't want on the other end. Okay, so that is finished, and I'm going to take that off of my paper, and we'll set this aside for now. We're going to move on to doing our foiling. So I'm going to pull my Mink in, and we're going to grab this, and I'll turn it on and let it get heated up while we talk about this. I'm going to heat mine up to a 3. Looks like Mish is saying, I've never bought red rubber stamps before. Do they store the same way as photopolymer stamps? They can store exactly the same way because they have that cling mount on the back. They will just stick to the storage panel. The great part about all of our red rubber stamps is they come with that thick laminated panel. So this is your storage solution. We do have different bag sizes that you can buy to slip these into, and then I kind of store them upright in my my storage solution is kind of a tub where I can easily flip through. I know everybody has different ways that they store it, but yes, they would store very similarly to however you're able to store your clear stamps. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to be using the star panel from the Foilet Americana. That's this one. We want our stars to be blue and our stripes to be red. I'm going to include the straight line here on the top, and so the straight line on top is going to be blue like the stars, and the straight line on the bottom will be blue like, or red like the stripes. So I have a piece of our beautiful blue stars and sparkle foil, and that's going to go over the top area. I'm going to grab my fun new recoil scissors and just trim this a little bit. I think I can get away with about half here. Well, that was smooth. Okay, and then we are going to take the red Stars and Sparkle fun foil. So this was released last year at Christmas, and we're going to use it now for, it's been getting a lot of use for me for the 4th of July. I'm just going to take and cut a little bit of that off. And place that on the bottom. I think I can cut this in half, and then I'll have enough to do another star panel with these excess pieces at some point. Okay, so we're going to put that foil down pretty side up, and I have my carrier sheet here, and my foil magic shim is inside of that. Then my paper goes on top with the foil on top of that, and we're going to send this through with the folded side going into the machine first, and I'm going to let it catch there, and it'll just pull it through to the other side. Now the other thing we need to foil, because I'm going to die cut some elements from this same foil color, I need to use a piece of toner. So this is just the Decofoil toner sheets, and I'm going to do half of it in blue and half of it in red. So let me grab the red Stars and Sparkle again. I want to make sure that the entire black part of this is foiled, otherwise it will transfer to my carrier sheet, and I don't want that. So we're going to overlap these colors slightly in the center. Just going to make sure I don't have too much excess foil here. Okay, so there's the red. And then we'll overlap the blue slightly and just trim off the excess around the edges that I don't need. Just a loose trim, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just so that it doesn't kind of stick out of the sides of my carrier sheet. Okay, so here we have the finished first panel. I'm going to let that cool off a little bit until it's cool to the touch, and while we're waiting on that, we'll go ahead and put this one through. So again, I want to cover all of the black with my red and blue foil. Stick that into the carrier sheet. I've got a little bit of black hanging out. I cut my red a little too tight. Okay. And then again, we'll send that through. This foil is going to adhere to the black toner, and then we're going to be able to use that to die cut stars and flag pieces. Okay, so this is finished, and I'm just going to peel that off so you can see the blue Stars and Sparkle on there, and then the red on the other end. So fun, so easy. And while we're waiting for that other foil to come through, I'll get my sentiment ready. I'm going to do Celebrate Freedom on this card. And I'm going to do that with my VersaFine Clair. And I think I'm gonna be okay just using an acrylic block. A lot of times when I'm just doing a sentiment, especially when it's clear, I choose to just use my block instead of my MISTI. Susan calls it living on the edge, so I'm living on the edge here. All right, celebrate freedom. There we go. So there's what that looks like. Let me pull this piece now that's done out of the machine, and we're done with this, so we can now turn it off and get it back out of the way. Open this up. I'll let that cool down for just a second, and I'll show you guys the next step is going to be our star stacklets here and finding the one that matches. I think it's the second largest in the set is going to perfectly cut out that star for us. So before I bring in my die cut machine, this has cooled off now. Let's go ahead and peel this back and show you. Look at that beautiful, perfect foil. So pretty with those blue stars and sparkles. And then we'll go ahead with the red. So this again is just going to give us the material that we need in order to die cut certain elements from the same foil colors that are being used on the panel. Okay, time to do some die cutting. We'll do the star first, and then we'll go ahead and cut some additional stars and our flag pieces out of that foil material. I can't talk while I line things up, so I have to have long, awkward pauses until I get it lined up, and then I can speak again. Okay, so there it is. We die cut that, and it's ready to go on the front of our shaker once we finish that. Now, let's go ahead and take, this is what the flag die, the American flag die looks like. You get that one base piece, which you need to cut out of white cardstock, and I did that ahead of time. Where did that go? Hold please. I know I cut this ahead of time, and Whitney, oh, here she put it. Okay. So you want to cut that base piece out of white cardstock, and that's so that the white stars, the tiny little white stars, you don't have to piece those back in. With the way that we've designed this to layer together, you will see the white stars through to the base color that you cut. So the other pieces that you cut are just going to layer on top of this. And again, like I mentioned earlier, if you want to create a flag in the opposite direction, you simply turn your base color or base piece over and adhere the flags in the opposite direction. So we gave you flags, flag layer pieces in both directions, but a base piece only going in one direction. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to take and adhere the little flag pole. I cut that out of oyster cardstock, so I'll do that really quick while I have the pieces in hand here. This is going to be a tiny little piece that goes along the side. Just line it up perfectly over the top of your base. If you want to leave that white, you certainly could do that too. But there it is. And then we're going to take the other pieces. So this is our striped piece that's going to be cut out of red, and then our stars piece cut out of blue. So I'm going to position those on each side. And then in addition, I'm going to cut some of the stars from our Hang On Stars set that we're going to end up using in the background of the card. Now, where I put my card, I don't know. Okay. Okay, here's my card. So we have, I'm just trying to figure out which stars I wanted to cut. So we're going to cut this one out of blue. And then we're going to cut this one out of red. So we're cutting, I'm trying to just bend this apart because I don't have a wire snips nearby. This one, we're going to use the center part of the star, but I'll have that framed star to use on another project. And then I'm going to use this small blue framed star as well. I will save all of this excess too, because once you put it on that toner paper, it's great for die cutting for future projects. Okay, so we are going to take the topper here and send it through. These are fairly intricate dies. The flag is fairly intricate with all those little stars. I haven't needed to use a shim on it yet, but I did send it back and forth a couple times just for good measure. So we'll go ahead and place these off to the side here where I can hopefully find them when I need them later. Here's what that red piece looks like, and then the blue piece. All of my stars popped out perfectly. And then we're going to need that blue star. We can save this one for later. All right, did I miss any pieces? I think I got them all. Sharon's asking, will all of today's releases stay in the catalog? Yes, our regular Tuesday releases are all part of our catalog now. The only limited quantity items are the kit products that come out the last Tuesday of the month, and sometimes they get released later and sometimes they don't. But yes, everything in this collection, if it sells out, it will be restocked and become part of our main offerings at TE. Okay, I need that one too. So let's go ahead and adhere these pieces down. You can see that I've got the red that's going to go on first, and then the blue is simply going to layer right over the top of that. So that's how you get your flag to look just like the American flag should, with the blue stars and the red stripes. I'm going to use my glue press here, which has recently been restocked. It's been out of stock for a while, so if you've been thinking about getting yourself a glue press, I am highly recommending. I really love mine. I use it, it's pretty much the only thing I use to adhere pieces. You can see it allows me a lot of control to let out just a tiny bit of adhesive, and especially when you're working with these foil pieces, you don't want a bunch of glue squirting out because it can dull the foil if you have gluey fingers and it gets on top of your foil, it makes it look dull and not shiny like it is supposed to. So there's the red, and then let's take and add some little dots of glue to the back. And we'll pop that down so you can see the white stars through the back of the flag. There it is. Okay, so let's set those aside and we're gonna build our shaker now. I'm gonna bring in my shaker materials, and I've got the bits and pieces Patriotic Party. I know Charlie linked that earlier. I saw that comment fly through. And then I'm also using sparkly stars. So these are super fun. I use these all the time. They give that little bit of extra sparkle and shine without overwhelming the main part of the shaker, which are those little bits. So this is something that Tailored Expressions introduced, I don't know, it's been a couple years ago now. So maybe if you're newer, you may not have seen an infinity shaker panel, but we have these in A2 size and in mini slim size, and basically we have built the shaker panel for you. Infinity shaker panel, just it's kind of like an infinity pool where it stretches all the way to the edge of your card. So it's almost like your shaker bits are not, I don't know, you think of an infinity pool, you can just continue to see on into the distance. So this is sort of just allowing you to not have your shakers end with a certain shape. They get to go all the way to the edges of your card. So I'm going to be using the A2 Infinity Shaker panel. Like I mentioned, these are already cut for you. They are scored and perfectly sized to fit a 4 by 5 1/4 piece inside of them. I'm going to take, my first step is going to be to take a bone folder and just crease these lines really good as they fold together. The acetate is a thicker acetate, and that is because in order to hold the score line, you have to have a thicker material. So this is thicker than, you know, a normal window acetate and nice and sturdy, but you do need to really give it a good crease. That's going to be your first step in starting one of these cards. So as I got that creased, I am going to just now open it up just a little bit so we can fit all of our stuff inside of there when we're ready. This is going to go on the outside of the card. I need to adhere my panel down. I mentioned at the beginning when we started that I liked how this looked with a white border around the outside. So I have a slightly larger panel here, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm just going to adhere this one to it. And then that's what is going to go inside of our infinity shaker. So this is going to go right inside here. It's actually going to go backwards so that when you flip this over, you're seeing the design on the front. But first, we're going to put some shaker material in there. So I am going to take my Stars and Sparkle, and we're just going to pour them right into the bottom there. And then we're going to take some of our Patriotic mix and pour that. This is like the easiest shaker card you'll ever make too. You don't have to build any walls, or everything's kind of already done and measured for you. And then we're going to take our panel, and like I said, we're going to flip that upside down and place it into the infinity shaker panel. Now I'm going to just kind of, in order to show you, I'm going to roughly hold this together while we flip it over, and you can see what those shaker pieces look like. If you want to do this as a tester yourself, you certainly can. That will help you determine if you want to put more shaker material in or not. And then comes the adhering part. So, like I mentioned, this is a thicker material. You need a nice strong adhesive to hold it together. So I am going to use the 1/2 inch sticky tape, and I'm going to place that all the way around the outside of my shaker panel. Now this might have been easier to do. I'm sure someone will ask, couldn't you do that before you put the shaker material in? You certainly could. I probably got a little ahead of myself. You could always put this tape on before you put your shaker material in, and then you might have a little better handle on it as you adhere it. And this does just tear with your fingers, so that's a nice feature of this particular sticky tape that we carry. We have it in both 1/4 and 1/2 inch. And you can just easily tear it without having to grab your scissors to do this. Okay, so I got the tape on there. I'm going to use a die pick to kind of pick the edges off of the tape, mostly because my fingernails don't do it very well. It's not hard to get off. And then with that in place, I can even start to fold that down, and then we'll do the next one. fold that in. You can use your bone folder to really strengthen the adhesive on there as well. And I'm going to show you one last trick as you adhere this to your card base to kind of ensure that it isn't going to open up or go anywhere. So we'll go ahead and press that down. Okay. All right, so just a really nice kind of burnish on that adhesive to make sure we got the best adhesion that we can. And now we flip that over and you can see what our patriotic party looks like inside of that fun infinity shaker. And then we're going to adhere it to our card base. So as I mentioned, this is sized at 4 by 5 1/4, which means it fits with a slight border on your normal A2 card base. To adhere these, my recommendation would be our foam strips. So we have those in both thicker and thinner versions. I would probably recommend using the thinner version, but I'm wildly looking around and I don't see it. So I am going to use my thicker version, but either one of the 1 by 3 foam strips is really going to help this get the best adhesion possible. So I'm actually overlapping this adhesive with those little flaps that fold in from the sides. And you can see we're going to get 2 of them down each side. And then 1 down here at the bottom. Actually, I think I'll go this way. And then I can do 1 in the middle just so it doesn't sag potentially. I'm going to push it down just a little bit farther so it fits there. And then I'll take the scissors that I have here and I can just cut a couple of small pieces to fit up in those corners to make sure that they're nicely adhered together. And if you haven't used our foam strips before, then you know that they are sticky. So don't anticipate this coming apart ever. We're gonna peel those backer pieces off and then finish up the front of the card. There we go. Center it on your card panel. I'm gonna line up this piece with the front so that the stripe going across each of those matches, and then just adhere that down. Now that I've got this shiny surface, you can see the light reflecting back on that. Before I do that, I want to kind of place my flag in where I want it and adhere the flag piece behind here. So I'm going to take and put a little bit of the adhesive just on the edge here, or on the bottom of the flagpole. And then I can figure out about where I want that to sit and press that onto the back of my star to get that adhered where I want that to be. Now, if you wanted extra pop, you could even pop the star up off of the front. This has quite a bit of adhesive already on it, so I'm going to go ahead and just adhere this down. You can use tape runner, you can use liquid glue. I'm actually going to just go ahead with some tape runner and maybe throw a little bit of liquid glue in the middle of the star. But I don't want too much liquid glue on there because if it seeps out onto my acetate, it will make it look fuzzy and icky. Okay. There we go. Rachel, you asked, I think I missed it, is the blue card base slightly larger than A2? Nope, the blue card base is A2, and these shaker panels are designed inside of that at 4 by 5.25. So you don't have to mess with any resizing on your card base. And then we've got these stars that we cut out that we can add to the different parts of the card. I think I'll put this red star up in the blue area. Like that. I love these wonky stars that are just like not quite perfected, just a little bit funky. I like that shape. And then we'll go with this one here. And this little framed guy, he can fit down here, maybe over here. And then we've done it. That was nice and simple card, easy to create. I must have done a lot of talking at the beginning because now I look up at the time and I'm over my normal hour that I use for the lives, but here it is, a fun, interactive card with lots of sparkle and shine. Really love how this one turned out. All right, you guys, I'm gonna come back and say farewell. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and yeah, I will not be here on Thursday, but Susan will be here. She's back from vacation, so I know she's got a fun project planned for you guys, and she's going to talk about our June deals of the month. So she's got something to share using one of our deals of the month, and yeah, then I will get to see you guys next week when we will have fun stuff. Susan will have some tea to spill on Thursday. I'll make sure that she has something to share. And then you guys can tune in next week, Tuesday, for the next release.